So 81-year-old woman presents to the emergency department due to left-sided paralysis for the past 2 hours. Her husband says that the symptoms begin suddenly and she is unable to speak. Vital signs include pulse is normal, respiratory rate normal, temperature normal, BP is 150/98, and ECG is obtained and is shown in the picture, which is the most probable cause of the patient's paralysis. So you have your ECG. I'm going to go through the ECG so that you look at each and every finding of this given ECG. But what is more important, when you have such kind of ECGs where you see that the ST segment elevation is not present, it is normal, etc., what you first do is you go to the continuous rate, because that helps you know the rate and the rhythm. So what do you figure out of the rate and the rhythm? This is most important here. And with this, I hope you're clear with the ECG. If you want me to show you the ECG again, let me know. And here are your options: cardioembolic stroke, cocaine toxicity, conversion, hemorrhagic disorder, or rupture of barrier aneurysm. What is the diagnosis here, guys? What is the diagnosis? And how do you reach to that diagnosis? Look, it has come to the emergency department due to left side paralysis. So this is symptoms of stroke, right? And you have your EKG, which is shown here. As I said, the most important, the first thing that you read in the EKG is the rate and rhythm. You see this is irregular rhythm. You see no P wave, so this is definitely atrial fibrillation. This is the most easiest EKG that you will ever see in practice, on any test, etc. And when you have atrial fibrillation secondary to atrial fibrillation giving you clots, it is cardioembolic stroke. Now, extension of this question is that what would you be giving, or what treatment would you be giving to the patient so that this doesn't happen again? What do you want to give to this patient? What is the management of atrial fibrillation after they have taken care of this anticoagulants, etc., of this stroke? So what do you want to give anticoagulants, and how do you decide if the patient is a candidate of anticoagulants or not? Most likely they are going to give them warfarin, and currently they are on, like, apixaban is also currently used very widely, so for anticoagulation of these patients of AFib. But what is the criteria? How do you decide if this patient needs anticoagulation or not? This is the thing that you gotta know, and this is really important, because they can ask you such questions. All of this is typically a question of step 2CK, but because of the pharmacology that comes with this, they can ask you. And no, this is not signs of embolism. It's a score which I guess you guys would be knowing. It's called this CHADS VASC score, and I hope they've given it somewhere here. Yeah, they've given only the CHADS score, but it's actually the CHADS VASC score. Go through it. It is congestive heart failure, hypertension, age, diabetes, and previous stroke. And if you have a point of greater than 2, then the patient is 2 or more than 2, then the patient is a candidate of anticoagulation. If it is 1 or 0, you wait, and there is no acute no need of anticoagulation at this stage. But previous stroke, as you see, only that has 2 points. So if the patient has stroke, you gotta give him anticoagulants. But if the patient has not had strokes, then you see all these things, and you see the CHADS VASC score, and if it is greater than 2, then if it is 2 or greater than 2, then you start the patient on anticoagulation. Another thing, just out of curiosity, let's say if you start a patient on anticoagulant, and then the patient comes to the hospital with a large GI bleeding or something. So at that point, what do you do? If the patient is on if the patient is on warfarin, of course, vitamin K. But the first thing is that you measure the patient's INR, and it is INR dependent management. So let's say the INR is 4.5. What do you do? Let's say the INR is 4.5. Okay, let's give you 2 conditions. One is INR of 4.5 and one is INR of 7. What do you do? Okay, so the patient is bleeding. Like this is definitely a step 1 question, guys. So you gotta know how to reverse the warfarin anticoagulation. This is very important for the pharmacology part. It is INR dependent. You give vitamin K, of course, but you give vitamin K for if it is less than 5. If it is 5 to 10 INR, you have to give FFP, fresh solution plasma, to control the bleeding, because he must have lost a lot of blood, and the INRs, if it is 5 to 10, you gotta give him FFPs too. So vitamin K and FFP, of course, you gotta stop your warfarin if it is 5. If you gotta stop your warfarin until the INR is normalized for 5 to 10, and for less than 5, you just gotta stop 1 dose of warfarin, and then you can continue warfarin again, because you don't want to risk your patient having a stroke because he has had a GI bleeding. So you don't so of course you gotta think about the stroke too. So if the patient has an INR of less than 5, you gotta stop warfarin for just a single dose, and if it is for 5 to 10, then you gotta stop it till the INR normalizes, and after the INR normalizes, you then recalculate the warfarin dose and then start the patient on warfarin. You don't stop the warfarin forever because he has had a GI bleeding, because that is going to precipitate the cardioembolic stroke. So that is an important thing. I wanted you to know. Another thing is, if the patient still has a GI bleeding, etc., there is you can what they do is that what is the origin of the thrombus? Can you guys tell me from where does this thrombus in atrial fibrillation origins? What is the site of the thrombus formation? That's what my question is. Then you're gonna, yes, left atrial appendage. That is more. Left atrium is, of course, it's the left atrium, but left atrial appendage is the more specific question, or more specific answer. So they can ask you that, of course. So what they do is they put a clip on the left atrial appendage from inside the heart, and when they put the clip, the left atrial appendage closes. So there is a very decreased chance of the stroke. So if the patient yes, left atrial ablation, it is called Watchman's procedure, etc. You can read it if you are interested in cardiology. So so that procedure can put the patient off the aliquots of the warfarin, etc., F6 whatever the anticoagulant the patient is on. So because the main purpose of anticoagulation is to decrease the risk of stroke, and we decrease the risk of stroke anyways by doing this procedure. So that is also an option. But for exam, main thing is they are going to ask you about acute, and you need to learn about the reversal of warfarin.
Thanks for watching. Please give a thumbs up and subscribe for more.